Hey y'all, Rick Sky here. Welcome back to another Timepieces for Tomorrow video. And within this video, I'm going to talk about the quality differences between the Tudor Black Bay 58 and the Rolex Submariner. This is the Rolex Submariner 114060, so it's the ceramic no date, not the current reference, but it's its predecessor. This is 40 millimeters. So a few things that I'm going to point out, and if you're torn between these two pieces, again, this is not a video that's talking about the brand on the dial or anything. This is a video that's pointing out the quality differences. So to look at these two bracelets, one may say, okay, that oyster bracelet looks very similar. Upon closer inspection, see how, and it does have faux rivets on it, but you can see how the taper is not perfectly smooth. I mean, if it didn't have the rivets, it still wouldn't be perfectly smooth, as opposed to the Submariner, which is a very smooth and well executed taper. Not that that's a problem with the Tudor, but to look at the two bracelets, you may not immediately notice that. But again, the Tudor is not a smooth transition from link to link like the Submariner is. Again, disregard the faux rivets. But so that's going to take us to our next point, which is the dial. So obviously on the Submariner dial, you've got white gold. On the Tudor, and I think it's rhodium. Correct me if I'm wrong within the comments, but you don't have the same high-end dial finishing that you have on the Submariner. As far as the markers and everything are concerned, they look very good. But if you took both of these pieces under a microscope, you're probably going to see subtle, and I don't want to say defects, but the finishing on the hands and the indices on the Tudor is not going to be as refined under a microscope as the Submariner. So that's a subtle difference. Obviously, these two pieces, the Submariner has a ceramic bezel. The Tudor has an aluminum bezel insert. So, and that's not none of these are negative comments. I'm just pointing it out. When you look at the case finishing, the side of both cases is polished. But what you may notice, what you may not notice, the Submariner, the transition between the polished section to the brushed. Then looking at the Tudor, there's kind of a little ridge line right there. They just do it differently. Not saying it's a problem. The crown, obviously, I would say both are equally good. The Submariner has better stated water resistance, but another big difference is the clasp. The clasp on the Tudor Black Bay 58 is great, by the way. But you can see here you don't have glide lock, and you've got limited adjustments. It fits my wrist great. No complaints there. But when you compare that to the Submariner bracelet, with this you get the glide lock, so you can make micro adjustments without tools, and it's just a more customizable clasp for your wrist. But again, both feel great on the wrist. Again, the Submariner, I can fine tune it a little bit more, but I've gotten both of these to feel just like I want on the wrist. The as we mentioned, not a quality thing, but these faux rivets, love them or hate them. I never notice them when I'm wearing this, but they are there. And it begs the question, did they put these faux rivets on there to try to disguise? You can see this really well here. See how there's a big transition among links in comparison to the Submariner's bracelet, which is just smooth. See, with or without rivets, that's smooth. So when I hold this back up, imagine there's no rivets there. Even if those rivets weren't there, you got a kind of a hop there. You're kind of jumping down a step. It wouldn't be a smooth taper like you get. So you can see it really well right there, see? People probably aren't going to notice that, but I want to point it out, having this on the wrist for over a year. Well, I mean, the Submariner I've had for a lot longer than a year, but I've had this Black Bay 58 for over a year. So just some things as a new buyer, if you're torn between Submariner or Black Bay 58, these may be things that you may not notice. One of the other subtle differences, and this, well, we're talking about quality within this. So the quality, the lume on both of these is great. Obviously, the Submariner has a blue type lume. The Tudor has a green type lume. Both look great in the dark, highly legible. This could be a quality statement. You can see here the Submariner has crown guards that may better protect the crown. The Black Bay 58 has no crown guards. So if you bash it into a wall or a desk, or maybe you're scuba diving, you jump off the side of a boat, those crown guards may prevent the crown from hitting whatever object. Whereas with no crown guards, you don't have that luxury. But the value add of this from an aesthetic perspective is that it gives it a more vintage type look. So also the quality differences here, when you look at the brushing on the case and the bracelet, I can say that the Submariner is more refined. For your casual watch purchaser, you may not even notice a difference, but having owned this Submariner, I think I got it in 2013. Check out my video where I got it and I swim in the ocean at 7 Mile Beach in the Cayman Islands. That's what I did as soon as I left the authorized dealers, took it in the ocean. I mean, why not? It's made for that. But just having worn and owned both, not own, but own, the Black Bay 58 has more of a tool type appearance, and then the Submariner, this reference Submariner, is kind of adopted more of a fancy type look. But we mentioned the lack of glide lock. I mean, both of these clasps are great, but obviously, as we mentioned, the Tudor doesn't have the glide lock, and it doesn't have it's not as adjustable. The bracelet's not as adjustable for the wrist as the Submariner. But again, I've fitted both to my wrist perfectly, and I have no complaints. I mean, these things are great. There's a Tudor Black Bay 58 on my 7.5-inch wrist. And I'll put on this Submariner 40 millimeter. So you can see it looks bigger. Because it is. I mean, it's a millimeter larger. But also the case design and the lugs and everything. But, the bracelet on the Submariner wins. The Tudor is not a slouchy, sluggish or whatever bracelet. It's not janky, whatever word you want to insert. I mean, it's a top-end bracelet. I'm just doing this. I'm doing this quality differences video if you're seriously on the fence and you're trying to decide between one of these two. Again, as I always will suggest, if you want to get a one and done, definitely get the Submariner first. But if you get the Submariner first, you may find that you may be wearing, if you get both, you may find that you wear the Tudor Black Bay more than the Submariner. I will say, despite the the quality difference in the bracelet, the size, the wearability of the Tudor Black Bay 58, it's more comfortable in my opinion. Again, that's a matter of personal preference. But, there's definitely quality differences. Both are exceptionally well made, and both are very similar at a quick glance. But, the more premium dial finishing, indices, hands, everything on the Submariner, it's a notch beyond. But with that being said, the Tudor Black Bay 58 is also exceptional. So don't write it off as being a as being a trying to think of the best word for it, as a plan B. You know, it's like, well, you know, I want to get the Submariner, but I can get this, and it, you know, it looks like it's probably just as good. You know, don't get the Tudor just because it's your number 2 option. For some people, the Tudor may be number 1. You know, don't consider price of these two pieces. Consider what you're looking for. You know, take some of my commentary into consideration. You know, I'm not trying to push you one way or the other. Both of these are exceptional pieces, but there are differences, and it's, you know, obvious that, for me at least, that the quality of the Submariner is better. It's beyond exceptional. Whereas I will say the quality of the Black Bay 58 is exceptional. There's nothing wrong with either of these. So, you know, but if you put them side by side, you know, my best advice, go to authorized dealer, try them on, and you'll probably find that both feel great, and you probably won't feel that the Black Bay 58 is a compromise. You know, for most people, the Black Bay 58 may be superior to the Submariner. So, you know, you do you, man. Figure out what you like, and you know, the reality is that neither of these pieces would be a poor decision in my opinion. But I'm just timepieces for tomorrow. You know, I'm not an authoritative figure telling you what to do. I'm not an authoritative figure at all. You know, I'm expressing my honest, unfiltered opinions because I wear both of these religiously, and both are great. Both are exceptional. But only one says superlative on the dial. So tell me what you think within the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe. YouTube.com/IRIX Guy. And check out all of my timepieces for tomorrow's videos. I've got a video playlist. Or you can just go to timepieces.tomorrow.com. Y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, Captain IRIX Guy here. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to subscribe. It's youtube.com/IRIX Guy. And ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.